Our last section is on scatter plots and trend lines. A scatter plot is a type of plot that displays values for two variables for a set of data. And we can look at the correlation or the relationship between the data to say whether there is an if-then correlation. Some of the examples that we have up top show the range from 1 to -1. And the correlations that we are going to talk about is positive. So the first one is just positive, and that is when both sets of data values increase. So an example would be the number of people who come over for Thanksgiving dinner and the cost of the food bill. As the number of people increases, the food bill also increases. A negative correlation is where one set of data values increases but the other decreases. So the number of times you sharpen your pencil and the length of the pencil itself. So as the number of times you sharpen the pencil increases, the length of the pencil decreases. And then there's also a case where there is no correlation. There's just no relationship between the two data sets. So an example would be the temperature in Boston and the number of cars sold in Hartford. There's no relationship. Down at the bottom, we have matching scatter plots in certain situations. So there are 3 examples here. You'll have a better view in your own sheet. The video picture is not very good. The first one, graph A looks at the time and the height. It's looking at when a sunflower seed is planted and the height of the plant. And so here you can see that the scatter plot, the graph, the dots are kind of going down. So it has a negative correlation, so that would not be a relationship between when a sunflower seed is planted and its height. The second one, if you notice, it has graph B. There are values that are going up, but there's also values that are in the negatives. You can't have negative days and you can't have negative height, so that one would not match. And graph C shows a positive correlation. It is starting to go up. You can see that as the days increase, the height of the plant would increase. So graph C would be the correct scatter plot to model the relationship between the number of days after a sunflower seed has been planted and its height. The example on the top here is talking about the relationship between the number of minutes since a pie was taken out of the oven and the temperature of the oven. So go ahead and see if it would match graph A, B, or C. So the time compared to the temperature. So if you look at graph A, the longer the time goes on after 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and 30 minutes, what is happening to the temperature of the oven? So you notice that as soon as the pie is taken out of the oven, the temperature is at well above 240. And then after 10 minutes, the temperatures drop to 160. And then after 30 minutes, it's dropped below 80 degrees. Graph B, you have negative time. You have some good minutes. It is going down, but would you have negative time occurring in this situation? And the last one, this looks like right away you've got the temperature is below 80. Then at 10 minutes have passed, the temperature is at 80. As 20 minutes have passed, it's getting warmer. After 30 minutes, it's above 240. So it looks like in this case, the temperature is climbing. So I think for this situation, graph A would match. For this open graph down below, we're looking at the question that's on the 3rd page, and it's talking about price depending on height. And remember, price depends on height. So your height is going to be on the x-axis. And this is on the last page of your notes. So there's your height, and there's your price. And we're going to be looking at the relationship between garden statues, its height and the price. And we have 5 different statues here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the height of these statues, and looks like the smallest one is 18 and the largest is 40. So we're going to have to figure out how to create our number line down at the bottom here. So I did the bottom, the x-axis I did in by 4s, and the price I did by 10s. So you can pause this and then you can go ahead and plot these. So Cupid is 32 inches high, and he is going to be $50. So that's going to be right around here. The gnome is 18 inches high, and he is $25. That's right around here. The lion is 35 inches, and he is 80. That's right here. The flamingo is 28 inches. That's 15. And the wishing well is 40 inches. That's 75. So this is what the scatter plot would look like using the given data. So the hardest part with looking at some of the scatter plots will be creating the coordinate grid itself, because you've got to figure out the increments for the x and y axes. When we get back to class, we're going to be working on 5 through 12.